In the central district of the Velrax Academy of Peaceful Relations, laughter echoed through the marble halls, but not the friendly kind. It was sharp, stabbing laughter, the kind meant to slice more deeply than any weapon. At the center of the semicircle of towering alien students stood a single human girl, Avery Cole. She was small by alien standards, barely reaching the chest of the shortest Velrax youth. Her dark hair was tied back in a simple braid, and a bruise was already forming across her cheek. It wasn't the first mark she'd received here. It certainly wouldn't be the last. A clawed hand slammed into her stomach. Avery folded forward, coughing. "Pathetic mammal," sneered Raxalon, the ringleader. 8 feet tall, plated hide, a mouthful of needle teeth. He was the kind of alien that humans made horror films about. He shoved her again. Avery stumbled, but didn't fall. Raxalon's spiked tail flicked dismissively. "You came to a peace academy, yet all your kind knows is violence. You deserve this." Behind her, another alien snickered and slapped the back of her head. Avery's jaw clenched. Peace, harmony, diplomacy. That was what she had been trained for. That was the whole point of sending the first human students into the wider galactic education system. Humanity needed allies, needed to prove they weren't the violent, unstable species the galaxy feared. So Avery took the abuse, for weeks. But today, something inside her was cracking. As Raxalon drew his arm back for another blow, she raised her head. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were steady, like calm water just before a storm. "Don't hit me again." Silence for a moment. Then the aliens roared with laughter. "She thinks she can order us. Human weakness is comedy. She can't even defend herself." Raxalon smirked, claws glinting. "What will you do if I do it again, little Earth thing?" Avery breathed slowly. She didn't want this, but they were giving her no choice. "I'll finish this class early," she said quietly. The bullies didn't understand those words. Not yet. They would soon. Minutes. Earlier, Avery had been sitting alone in the academy cafeteria, nursing a nutrient drink that tasted like chalk mixed with sadness. She kept to herself. Every attempt to be friendly only invited mockery. Humans were new here. Strange. Distrusted. Her wrist communicator buzzed. "Instructor Lauren." "Avery, please remember, no self-defense demonstrations without instructor supervision." She sighed. She hadn't done anything. Just asked earlier if the academy had a gym or sparring facility, somewhere she could at least stay in shape. She had once been part of a youth Terran defense cadet program. Level 8 unarmed combat certification. Not the best, not by far, but enough to feel safe. She missed feeling safe. She slid the communicator away. That was when Raxalon's shadow fell across her table. "Well, well, human," he hissed. "Didn't you say yesterday you were trained to fight?" "Show us. Hit me." "I want to see your species' famous brutality." Avery shook her head. "I don't want trouble." Raxalon slammed a claw onto her table, cracking the corner. "You already are trouble." And the day spiraled from there. Back to present. The lesson begins. Raxalon's final punch flew, but never landed. Avery stepped inside his reach. Her elbow snapped up under his jaw, a perfect angle. Crack. Raxalon staggered. He hadn't even seen the strike. Avery exhaled once, calm, cold. "Warned you." The other aliens froze, their laughter dying instantly. Avery wasn't big. She wasn't armored. She had no claws, no fangs, but she moved like a weapon. 3 bullies rushed her from behind. She ducked, swept the first one's legs, grabbing his arm and slamming him into the second. Both collapsed in a tangled heap. The third swung wildly. She pivoted, a graceful arc, her palm striking his throat lightly, not enough to crush, just enough to shut him down. He dropped to his knees, gasping. Aliens watching from the hall stared in horror. Raxalon recovered from his shock and roared. He charged like a living tank. Avery didn't move until the last possible second. Then she slid left, grabbed one of his armored plates, and redirected the momentum. Raxalon slammed headfirst into the wall, stone cracking. His head whipped back toward her, dazed and furious. "You savage," he snarled. "I said don't hit me again," Avery replied. "I never said I couldn't hit back." He lunged again, claws outstretched. But Avery climbed him like a tree, knelt on his back, and applied a hold that compressed the nerves between his shoulders. His arms went limp. dominated, pinned. A very clear message. Humanity was small, but humans learned to survive death worlds. Avery leaned close to his ear slit. Lesson 1. Never corner prey that can become a predator. Raxilon thrashed, but couldn't move. The others stared, trembling. In the span of 20 minutes, Avery had gone from silent target to unstoppable storm. No weapons, no armor, just human will, and training born from a species that had faced extinction more times than recorded history cared to mention. The instructors. Arrive alarms blared. Doors hissed open. Instructor. Lauren and the Academy security force stormed into the hall. They froze mid-step. Every bully lay, incapacitated. None were standing. At the center was Avery, breathing evenly, hair slightly messy, eyes unwavering. Raxilon was groaning beneath her knee. Lauren's expression twisted from confusion to disbelief. Miss Cole. What happened here? Avery stood, letting Raxilon collapse fully. She brushed dust off her uniform. They insisted on a practical lesson, she said. Security medics began scanning the downed aliens. Nothing permanent. Avery had made sure of that. She hadn't lost control. She had simply ended the abuse. Raxilon glared up at her as medics applied a stabilizer harness. You monster, he groaned. Avery knelt, meeting his eyes with quiet fire. You started this. I finished it. The tribunal that evening? Avery faced 3 towering Academy administrators, their authority evident in their jeweled robes and stern expressions. Violence is forbidden within the Academy walls, the lead elder said. How do you defend your actions? Avery's hands were clenched, but her voice was calm. I defended myself after repeated harassment. I attempted diplomacy. I followed the rules. I asked for help. She inhaled deeply. No one listened. She bowed slightly, respectful, not submissive. If you punish me, you teach the others that harming humans comes without consequence. The tribunal murmured among themselves. Finally, the lead elder nodded. We have reviewed the security footage. It confirms your account. His voice softened slightly. Humans are more capable than we understood. Avery didn't smile. This isn't about being capable. It's about being treated as equal. The elder leaned back. Your message has been received. A pause. You will not be punished, and anti-human harassment will be dealt with directly. Avery nodded once. Thank you. A reputation is born news spread through the Academy like wildfire. The human fought back. And won. Some were afraid, others curious, a few impressed. By next morning, aliens gave her a cautious, respectful berth in the halls. Some even bowed slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement. Avery didn't revel in it. She wanted peace. Always had, but sometimes the only way to secure peace was to prove that humans were peaceable by choice. Raxilon returns. A week later, Avery found Raxilon waiting for her in the courtyard. His armor was healed, his posture different, humbled. He bowed deeply, a Velrax sign of serious intent. I mocked your species, he said. But you are warriors of a different kind, efficient, disciplined, merciful. He hesitated. Would you train with me? Avery blinked. That she did not expect. You want to learn human self-defense? Raxilon nodded, and maybe human courage. For the first time since arriving at the Academy, Avery smiled without fear. Sure, just don't hit me again while we're training. Raxilon flinched, then a nervous chuckle escaped him. No. Lesson learned. Epilogue. HFY When Avery came to the Velrax Academy, humanity was viewed as a primitive anomaly, uncivilized, barely worth acknowledgement. But one young girl shifted that perception, not by aggression, but by refusing to be broken. Sometimes HFY isn't about conquering galaxies. It's about standing up once, when the universe expects you to stay down, and making sure that when you speak, they listen. A week of uneasy peace passed. Avery Cole walked the halls of the Velrax Academy with a mix of relief and vigilance. The bullying had stopped, yes, but in its place was something almost more unnerving. Attention. Aliens who wouldn't look at her before now whispered as she passed, "That's the human." Death World spawn. She defeated Raxilon! No, she spared him. Respect mingled with fear. Avery didn't want either. She just wanted normalcy. But normalcy was not in humanity's destiny, not out here. Training begins. The academy courtyard had become a bizarre sight. Avery, small, human, standing before a towering Velrax bruiser, teaching him how to fight. "Well," she said, hands on hips, squinting up at Raxalon. "Your stance is wrong." Raxalon shifted awkwardly on his clawed feet. "This feels undignified." "It's balanced," Avery corrected. "Dignity doesn't matter if you're on the floor." Raxalon grumbled but adjusted. Other aliens gathered in a semicircle, watching curiously. They looked between Avery and their former bully leader like they couldn't comprehend reality anymore. Avery demonstrated a movement, quick, controlled. Raxalon attempted the same, and tripped. Avery sighed. Okay, let's slow down." "Human." The voice was cold, stern, authoritative. Avery turned, and her heart tightened. Chief Instructor Vurak, the Academy's highest-ranking combat specialist, marched across the courtyard. He stood nearly 3 heads taller than Raxalon, skin plated with luminous silver armor that wasn't armor. It was him. Horned, imposing, a legend of the Velrax War Academies. Raxalon immediately bowed, trembling. Avery bowed too. Respectful. Vurak spoke with a voice like a rolling avalanche. "You teach Velrax combat arts now?" "No, sir," Avery replied. "Just helping a friend." Raxalon blinked. "Friend?" The word hit him harder than any strike she'd ever thrown. Vurak studied Avery a moment. "Your skill surpasses your size." "And your mercy surpasses your skill." Avery braced, expecting reprimand. Instead, "We need that." She blinked. "Sir?" "There is unrest forming in the Academy," Vurak said. "Whispers that humans are ruthless monsters. Other whispers that they are powerful allies. Fear divides. We must decide which truth prevails." A hush spread around them. Vurak pointed a clawed finger at Avery. "You will represent humanity in a demonstration duel before the Academy and visiting dignitaries." Avery's stomach dropped. "A duel?" "Yes," Vurak nodded. "Against a trained Velrax warrior." Raxalon stepped forward without hesitation. "I volunteer." Gasps erupted. Avery stared. "You don't have to." Raxalon shook his head. "I do. I started this. I will help end it." Vurak considered, then nodded approval. "It is settled." 3 days. He turned and began to leave but paused. "And human?" "Yes, sir." "Thank you for not making us your enemies." Avery stood shocked. 3 days, a duel. The entire Academy watching. Humanity's reputation on the line. Her pulse hammered. "No pressure," she muttered. Night. Thought's dormitory lights dimmed. Avery lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She remembered Earth, home, the smell of spring rain, her mother's smile, her father's proud tears the day she was selected for this program. "You will show them who humans truly are," he had told her. But what if she failed? What if she hurt Raxalon again? What if she wasn't strong enough? Her communicator blinked. A message. "Raxalon, we fight as allies, not enemies." Avery exhaled slowly. Sometimes courage wasn't loud. Sometimes it whispered, "Try again, tomorrow." The arena, 3 days passed in a blur of training. When Avery entered the combat arena, the air pulsed with tension. Thousands of alien students and instructors filled the elevated seats, energy screens humming to contain the match. Flags of dozens of species fluttered. The announcement blared, "Demonstration of interspecies peace through controlled combat." Human Avery Cole versus Velrax warrior Raxalon. Avery's heart pounded. Raxalon approached, but this time he wasn't sneering. He extended a hand. "May we honor each other." She clasped his claws. "May we show them the future." Vurak stepped between them. "Begin." The duel was not like their previous confrontation. Raxalon came fast, disciplined now, trained. No sloppy rage. Claws slashed. Avery pivoted. Tail whipped. Avery jumped back, barely avoiding the barbed tip. The crowd roared. Avery struck, a sharp jab at his weak joint plating, but he blocked. Countering with a shoulder slam, Avery flew back, skidding on the arena floor. Pain flared, but she stood. Raxalon growled, not mocking, encouraging. "Show them." Avery grinned through the ache. Gladly. She sprinted, weaving, reading his movement patterns now familiar from practice. She slid beneath his arm, climbing him like before. But he anticipated it. swinging her off with a roll. They separated, circling, two warriors, equal in spirit. Avery raised her fists. "You've gotten better." Raxalon slammed his fists together. "I had a good teacher." They clashed again, claw and bone, muscle and will. Every move Avery made was efficient, human ingenuity against brute strength. Every strike Raxalon delivered was controlled. He refused to become the bully again. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was hope. Then, a warning flashed across the arena. Boundary, unauthorized breach, before anyone processed what it meant. The main doors exploded inward. True threat arrives, a screech ripped through the arena. A sound of pure predation. A massive, insectoid alien burst into the chamber, armored like living obsidian, multiple red eyes burning with mindless hunger. A Skarn devourer, the galaxy's plague, the apex of chaos. A species that consumed entire colonies. Panic erupted, students fled. Alarms blared. Security scrambled. Vurak roared orders, but many guards were already down, torn apart or scattered by terror. Avery stood frozen. A primal part of her brain screamed, "Run!" Raxalon stepped in front of her protectively. "No, stay behind me." The devourer lunged, fast, impossibly fast. Raxalon intercepted, claws clashing against armored mandibles. But the beast was twice his size, and born for slaughter. It hurled him across the arena like a rag doll. Avery screamed, sprinting to his side. He coughed, ichor leaking from his mouth. "Human." He rasped, "Run!" She shook her head violently. "No." Her voice was steel. "You trained with me. You stood up for me. You called me friend." She stood, turning to face the nightmare. "Now it's my turn." Humanity shows its core. The devourer shrieked and pounced. Avery's survival instincts flared, but she didn't back away. She charged. The alien swiped. Avery rolled beneath, sprang up, sprinted up its limb before it could follow the motion. Her fists hammered into a cluster of sensory eyes. The beast shrieked, rearing back, hurling her across the arena. She hit the ground hard, breath exploding from her lungs. Pain screamed through her ribs. She stood anyway. Blood dripped down her lip as she glared at the monster. "Come on, you oversized cockroach." The devourer thundered toward her again, talons raised. Avery's eyes narrowed. She waited. Waited. Now! She dove toward Raxalon. "Tail!" she shouted. Though barely conscious, Raxalon's muscles reacted. His tail thrust upward sharply. Avery planted a foot on it, launching herself high into the air, higher than she could ever jump alone. Straight toward the devourers. Exposed eye cluster, with a yell drawn from Earth's oldest instinct, the instinct to fight back. She drove both fists into its primary eye. Crunch. The devourer staggered drunkenly, screeching in blind agony. Vurak seized the chance, energy blade crackling to life, and with a furious roar, he cleaved the monster's head clean through. Silence. Then, thunderous cheers. Avery collapsed to her knees, lungs burning, tears streaming, but she smiled. They weren't cheering Vurak. Not this time. They were cheering humanity. Aftermath. Avery sat in the medical bay, wrapped in healing foam. Raxalon lay nearby, already recovering faster thanks to his species' durability. Vurak approached, dismissing the medics. "You saved this academy," he said simply. Avery shook her head. "We saved it," Raxalon gave a weak chuckle. "Mostly you." Vurak knelt, a giant humbling himself. "We feared your species once," he admitted. "Now, we would fight beside you." The door opened, and dozens of students entered. Different species, different shapes, all with the same expression. Respect, not fear. The lead elder of the academy bowed deeply. "Through courage and compassion, you have shown us what it means to be human." He extended a ceremonial crest. "Welcome, Avery Cole, official interspecies peace guardian." Avery stared at it, overwhelmed. Humanity. Accepted. Finally, Raxalon grinned. Fanged, yet warm. "Looks like you finished the lesson." Avery smirked back. "No, this is only the beginning." Final HFY. Note: humanity is not feared because humans are monsters. Humanity is feared because humans survive monsters. They endure. They adapt. They overcome because humans come from a world that tried every day to kill them, and they learn to smile anyway. HFY.